So it says that we're live.
The broadcast is live, and you have new stuff today.
I do.
So welcome, everybody.
I do have new stuff.
I'm Dr. John, nurse practitioner with Island Direct Primary Care, and Miss Janice, or just Janice from Clarity Based Marketing, is so kindly to invite me weekly to speak about healthcare and outside the box. And so, though it still says 2020, so we need to change that to 2021.
No, I have a plan.
You do?
I do. I always have a plan. You know that. I always have a plan.
Well, you're a doctor too, so.
I am a doctor. It's a little known fact. So my plan is I'm going to change it to outside the box 20/20, like, 2020 vision.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of us have that. 2021 is the worst. I don't know what 2021 is trying to do, but it needs to get with the program.
That's a great segue in what we've been talking about over the past. We've had a crappy couple weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, I've had a crappy, almost a month and a half.
I think, when the new year came and everybody being optimistic, whether you believe in vaccines or not, everyone just had a sense of, maybe a sense of hope of, look, if we can get these vaccines out and you get some people who believe in them, getting enough of them, then the attitudes in the communities change, and we may get back to some form of the old normal.
Yeah.
And life is still getting in the way, right?
You know what? Hold on a minute. Because this says we're live, but I don't see us live on my profile.
Well.
So that's not good.
So Buttons, where are we supposed to be live?
Well, that's a good question. Let's see.
Are we supposed to be live on Facebook?
We are live on Facebook. Well, we are supposed to be live on Facebook. So let me just check and see if we are live on my profile. Does not appear to be the case.
You already snacking in there?
Oh, we are. So all that, there it is.
So all that for our own insecurities, determining if we've actually done it right or not.
Well, okay, let me stop and say this. So despite all the craziness that's been going on, I'm like, still have to work, still have to do things, still have to move forward. It's been really difficult. Everybody I know has had some kind of challenge, unexpected challenge in 2021. And we all were going into 2021 with this high expectation that, we were done with 2020 and all the ridiculousness that came with it. And then 2021 showed up with Pandora's box and said, here you go. Here's some new stuff. But anyway, so I got this cool new system. It's called StreamYard for anyone who does live videos and likes this platform. I actually found it. I was familiar with it. I found it for a client. I don't know, probably a year ago. I found it for a client that does a lot of lives and had forgotten about it. And I sat in on a live video with a company that had this cool setup. And what I liked about it most was that they were able to see the comments live real time. And so that was super cool. And so I checked it out, and I actually pulled the trigger on it a month ago, probably. How long has it been since we talked, you and I?
2-3 weeks.
Yeah, at least. So nobody's watching us right now because they have forgotten about us. I know, right?
It's okay. It's being recorded, so.
It is. It's showing up. I did see that it's showing up on there. I verified it. So, but anyway, so StreamYard, we're using that, and if you jump in and we're live, you can comment, and we will actually see it now, and we'll be able to speak to your comments. live. I'm so excited. It's so easy to make me happy. Go ahead, say what you want to say. It's the truth. It really is the truth.
Okay.
It
I
is.
believe you.
Well, see, now you get all the worst of me, though. You get all the worst.
I think, no, I think you're right. I think, there are things that easily make us happy, and it's the simple things. And I believe that we tend to forget about those simple things that make us happy because we're so overwhelmed with what's going on in our lives daily and what went on in our yesterdays. And yesterday's gone, and we're not going to get that back. We're not going to get that 24 hours back. It only lasts 24 hours. It's what I like about bad days. They only last 24 hours. And then, you have the choice to start your new day differently. And so, in my practice, if we talk about that, we talk about you have a choice to wake up and do something physically different. So like for you to go for a walk. That's a choice that you make that you can do differently every morning to take care of your physical health. When we get into mental health or emotional health, there's things that you do there, right? Which part of that's walking, right? And you walk at sunrise. And so that provides a peace and meditation and a renewing of the day for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do that. And then if we talk about spirituality, that can get into, even, when you're doing those simple walks, and we're talking about, meditation and prayer and those kind of things. And so those are choices we make on a daily basis. And if we choose differently, then our days end up differently.
Yes. But let me say this. All that's really overwhelming sometimes, so a lot of people
doing it consciously though, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. When you just do it, it's not always a conscious thing. It's very overwhelming. It could be very overwhelming if you're focusing on, I need to take care of my 5 pillars of wellness today. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying either. So here's an example. So this is what I'm saying. So since the beginning of 2021, I've had like several things just coming at me. And each one by themselves was a challenge. But when you put them all together, it was debilitating, like literally debilitating. And so when that happens, like I had built some really good habits over the last couple of years, things that I was really happy about, like the walking, like, going out with friends and, just good, solid habits, eating better, all staying hydrated, all those things. And they had become second nature for the most part. But when all of this stuff came down on me, and, I bought a new condo, my stepmother got very sick, and it was an extended health crisis that ended in her passing. My dad's health is fragile. We have a very complicated estate to sort through. I have had some disruptions in my business. I haven't been able to interact with my team the way I need to. And, just one thing after another, after another, after another. And there was about a 2-week period that I was doing a good job just to get up and get dressed every day and do the actual things that were screaming in my face, this must be done. So even though I had built these habits, the walking and the eating right and sleeping good, I've been sleeping on average like 4 to 5 hours a night, sometimes less than that. And, I have this cool halo thing that my boys got me for Christmas, which is really cool. And however, and I track my sleep, and it rates it on a scale of 1 to 100. And I had been averaging about 70, which is good, but not really all that great. But I got a 15 the other day. Like that's horrible. And So when that kind of stuff happens, it's not as easy, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's not as easy to do those things, even if you've already created those habits. So imagine if you haven't created those habits. And so my concern in saying those things to people is that it feels overwhelming, and it makes, I know for me, I used to beat myself up for not doing the things that I knew would help, but sometimes you just can't. You know, like sometimes it's just not possible. It takes too much headspace. I had a really good friend of mine tell me something very profound the other day. Well, a week or so ago. And he said, we were talking, he said, how are you doing? And I said, you know, it's this challenging times. And he said, well, are you reacting or are you responding? And I kind of stopped and thought about that. I'd never thought about it in that context before. React or respond. And they sound very similar, but they're not. And I'm not going to like go into depth on what my interpretation is of that, but if you're listening to this, that's some of the best advice I've gotten in the last month and a half is, are you reacting or are you responding? And I've stopping and thinking and not reacting quickly, but rather responding with purpose has been maybe the most helpful thing for me. All of the traditional advice that we get and we know is great, but at the very, see, I'm a doctor. I've been telling you. No, I'm not a doctor. But I mean, what do you think about that? The whole react versus respond.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into my full interpretation of it either.
Okay, we'll let everybody else do that for themselves.
For themselves, yeah. So I saw that post, by the way, from your friend. I think it was online.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you know, there's not a lot of stuff that I enjoy reading on social media. And so occasionally you'll get little tidbits like that. I'm like, right on, man. Exactly. And so I'm a choice guy. So I'm a believer in free will. And so I think we have an opportunity to choose to respond. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because from a scientific perspective, we have voluntary actions and we have involuntary actions. So take that into a reaction. If you're used to getting hit and someone raises their hand at you, you're going to.
I'm checking to make sure we're still alive. Sorry. We are. Nobody's listening.
You know,
okay.
You're going to react. Don't hit me. You know, it's if a car beeps their horn, there's a reaction, and that's kind of like an involuntary thing. But there's a lot of things that we can do from a response perspective. And so a couple last year, I don't do New Year's resolutions. I use words. And so my word for last year was intention. So I wanted to be intentional in everything that I did. So I believe responding is one of those things as well. And so every time something came into my life, I wanted to be intentional with my response rather than just reacting emotionally to what was going on in my life that day. And so, and like you, so, it's been an interesting year. My dad has stage 4 cancer. And so we've been dealing with that for well over a year now. So we've been blessed that, the treatments have been good and showed some resolution in some areas. But he's still having complications. So last weekend he had to have multiple blood transfusions and he had a GI bleed. And then that same weekend, my cousin took her life. And so she committed suicide, and she was just battling addiction for a long time. So I was walking that journey with her. And then, as a healthcare provider, we're always on the front lines of a lot of things. And so, I had to serve as a witness for a criminal case that involved a fatality. And that was hours and hours and hours. And those were my three personal things on top of what I do for a living, which is care for people.
Yeah, yes. When you were talking, I was thinking to myself, you've got all those things on your plate, all those personal things, and I have all these personal things on my plate as well. And on top of that, I've had some health challenges. All this stuff, ran me into your office yesterday with high blood pressure. Blah, which we're going to get that under control. But it's all because of the stressors and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we're both business owners, and I have clients that are depending on me to, do the things that I promised I would do for them that they're paying me to do. You have patients like me who are depending on you to be there when they have a problem, and it's, another layer. So I have a lot to do today, and I know you have a lot to do today, and we really just jumped on here to have an open discussion about how crazy things have been. And I really want us to go through that sensitivities report. Maybe next week we can do that. Oh, no, we can't do that next week. You know why we can't do that next week? Because I'm moving next week. Isn't that like one of the top 5 stressful things in life, moving? Losing a parent, top 5. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. So, but here's, so we won't be, we might, probably not. So here's the theme, though. I think that naturally evolved, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due, because my very good friend, Christopher Conlon, is who shared that advice with me, was, are you reacting or are you responding? And so Christopher is the star of today's show, in my opinion. And I'm so blessed with great people around me. I have a lot of people who are very wise and very insightful and very supportive. And I think that's the key, too, is to gather up your people around you when 2021 is trying to kick you in the mouth.
That's right. It's true.
Right?
It's true. So, well, I appreciate it. And I will, I think today's just, today's little meet and greet with your new technology.
Yes.
I think it's, it's really just about being intentional with your response, right? And knowing that nobody knows what the other person's going through. Nobody knows everybody's story, right? You might have a couple friends that know it, but when we're out there doing our thing, doing our daily living, you don't know what that other person's going through. So let me just encourage everybody to, be kind, love one another, and just know that behind that mask that they have out in front of everybody, there may be someone who is grieving, is, battling addiction, really just fighting for their physical life. They could be fighting for their spiritual life. They can be fighting for their financial life. There's a lot going on behind that mask that we don't need, that we don't know about. And so I thank you for yesterday when we talked, say, you know what, let's just make ourselves vulnerable to everybody online to say, hey, we're people too. And we know that you may be going through a lot, and we're all going through a lot too, but we have each other. We do live in a wonderful country where we can do this last minute. There was no government regulation, no, religious conviction or anything that said, you guys can't go on social media and talk about your problems because this world is perfect. It's not perfection, it's progress. And I think the way we continue to progress forward versus falling back is doing what your friend said, and that is to respond. And so I would say respond with intention, and that would actually help us out in our daily living. So thanks so much for having me today. I wish you a blessed week. Enjoy the enjoy the journey and that experience of moving into a new place, and don't let it drag you down, because it's a happy time in your life. This is something that I've known that you've wanted and you've just so been looking forward to. So embrace the suck, as we say in the military, and enjoy this new part of your journey. And maybe we'll talk in 2 weeks.
Well, no, I have a proposal. Can you turn your volume up a little? I'm feeding back really bad. Okay, so I have a proposal that I think will be super cool. Can you still hear me? Okay, good. So I meet every week with my accountability partner, and I actually usually meet with her on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. And I was going to, I didn't tell either you, but I was going to have the two of you on today, because 2021's been tough on her too. So how about, here's my proposal. How about the three of us talk next Thursday at 10 a.m. You check your calendar and get back to me. And but this platform will allow us to do that very nicely. And we have great conversations, and I think that you'll enjoy it. And I think it'll be a lot of fun for all three of us.
At 10 a.m. Thursday?
Yes, sir. We haven't had not the single live viewer today. I don't even understand.
Well, nobody expected us to be here.
True.
Whatever.
That's true. That's true.
Next Thursday, February 25th at 10 a.m.
Sounds great. See ya.
Be there.
Be there, be square. I'm going to end this broadcast. Bye, everybody.